Hello everyone, this is Mr. Hawkins, and today we're going to be looking at squares and square roots. This will be a little bit longer than the other video, so if you want the shortened version, go ahead and check Blackboard for the shortened version of this video. You will still be required to fill out the notes though, so I expect that for every one of you. Oh, there we go. So here, we're going to be talking about squares and square roots. So let's go ahead and look at this. So two students found the area of parallelograms, used their work to answer questions A and B. So Brad says the area equals the base times height. Um, Remember, parallelograms are like rectangles, and you find their area by base times height. And the area for Brad was 2.5 times 6, and he got 15 centimeters squared. Collins, funny, found the area was base times height, and he said 8 times 8. And he said the area was 64 centimeters squared. So which student found the area of a square? And how do we know this? Well, if you think about the properties of a square, what do we know? We know that a square has two sides that are the same. So if we look at their questions, well, 2.5 is not the same as 6, but 8 and 8 are the same, right? So Collins must have the square. Um, in what way could the formula for finding the area of a square could be written? Well, instead of base times height, what could we say instead? Since we know each side of the square is the same, instead of writing the area as base times height, right, we could say the area of this equals side times side because the sides are the same. It's a square, right? So a square is side squared. Um, so you're going to see this little caret sign a lot. If you ask me what the caret sign means on the calculator, this is where you're going to hear it. And you're going to hear it from me in class. And every day we do this. This is a power symbol. This is how you enter in a power symbol on a calculator. On when you write it, most people don't write it like this unless they're on the computer. They just have it as a little 2 above. But if you're writing on the keyboard, this is how you're going to see it as. So squaring a number, let's look at this, squaring a number. So squaring a number is the same as multiplying a number by itself. So that is what you're going to put in here. Now these take a little bit longer to make because I have to fill in a bunch of stuff. Raising the number to a power of 2, for example, 4 to the power of 2, that's how we say this, equals 4 times 4, or 16. So 16. Because 4 times 4 is 16. Now notice how it does not say that this thing is 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. That's not 16. The easiest way to think about this is to think about your boss telling you, or your coworkers, or your mom or your dad telling you to make a copy at a copier machine. And they're telling you, there's your parent telling you how many copies of the bottom thing you want. So it's saying it wants 2 copies of 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. We've got 2 copies. So if you have a different power, say 3, 4, 5, 6, you're going to have that many 4s. 4 to the 5th power is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Anyway, I think you guys get it. Be careful to note of negative signs and parentheses when squaring values. Observe the differences below. So it says -2 squared, well, it's saying that it wants you to square the negative in here. And this is going to be the most confusing for most of you guys because of the way this works. So -2 times -2. And if you remember from an earlier math class, a negative times a negative is positive, right? So 2 times 2 is 4, -2 times -2 is also 4. However, if I have -2, if I have that negatives outside, this is where it gets a little confusing. In this case, we're squaring the 2, but not the negative sign. So it's -2 times 2. And this leads to a -4 value. I know it's weird, but that's just how things are. So get used to it, I guess. So in your first case, oh, not 34. Oh my gosh, okay, that's fine. Wait, what? Okay, I didn't know I could re-edit these when I changed them. There we go. That's better. But that also is fine because I can do that and then move it over and up. There we go. Perfect. So that's pretty much what happens with your negative sign there. If it's not included inside the parentheses, you're not squaring that negative sign as well. And don't worry, we'll get plenty of practice with this in class. Let's talk about the next thing, square roots. Now the square root is basically we're going the opposite direction. So if by finding a square of a number, we're finding the area of a square, square root is we're starting at the area of the square and we're working to one side. So before we do this, I want us to go ahead and fill out this chart. So I'm going to do the first couple with you and then I'll leave you guys to do the rest. But 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, so on and so forth. Go ahead and fill out the rest of this chart out. Square roots, however, well, we're going to go the opposite direction. So this chart will help you with square roots. So 1, you have to think 1 times 1 is 1. So the square root of 1 is 1. Oh. 2 times 2 is 4, so the square root of 4 is 2. 3 times 3 is 9, so the square root of 9 is 3. And you guys can see this is just a direct inverse of this chart. So go ahead and fill the rest of this chart out. And when you're done, come back up here and we'll complete the square roots part. Okay. So this chart is just helpful and getting a basic sense of square roots. So like I said, the square root of a number is the value of that multiplied by, is the value that multiplied by blank equals that number. I'm going to put the side of a square, one side, to be more specific. It's just one side. That's it. So if you, just like down here, you have square root of 9, one side of that square is 3 because 3 times 3 is 9. Keep in mind that square roots have 2 answers. So like the square root of 16, 4 times 4 is 16, but can you think of another number that also fulfills this condition? Pause the video and then unpause when you think you know the answer. I'll wait. Okay. So if you thought about it and you got it right, you would realize that -4 times -4 is also 16. So the square root of -16 is not only 4, but also -4. Because 4 times 4, 16. And also -4 times -4 is also 16. Because remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. If anyone's seen Stand and Deliver, I feel like that teacher right now. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. You'll hear this from me all the time in the classroom. Trust me on that. So this is known as a perfect square. Perfect square because squares like to be perfect. That's just what they're called because they're a nice little number packaged neatly and they're not a decimal. Oh, that would be down here. Perfect square. Okay. Perfect. Principal root. Okay, well. The side of a square root is known as the principal square root. Okay, I think that's what they're getting at. Anyway, let's go on to the practice. So I'm going to do 1 and 2 with you for each, and then I will leave you to the rest of them. Some of these are a bit harder in the fact that they have a number before. Don't panic. Just remember that it's just a number being multiplied by whatever the square root is. Okay? So 7 squared, or -7 squared, remember, if the negative sign is in the parentheses, we include it in both. So it becomes -7 times -7. And this equals 7 times 7 is 49. So -7 times -7 must also be 49. 2/3. Well, just remember, this is like a copier. So I have 2/3 multiplied times itself, times 2/3, and just multiply the numerators and the denominators, just like you're doing a multiplication of a fraction. So 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, so it becomes 4/9. Easy peasy, right? The ones that might be a little bit trickier are numbers 5 and 6, but I will let you guys challenge yourself to figure those ones out. Just think about how square roots work and work backwards a little bit. Let's look at 2 to the 64th. So if you look at your power chart from above, hopefully you finished that. 2 square root I don't know how to say that. 2 SQRT is square root 64 equals 2. And if you look at your square root of 64, you're like, oh, 8 times 8 is 64. So this must be 2 times 8, which is 16. And then we have 5 plus the square root of 121. So we have 5 plus 11. Because 11 times 11 is 121, and we get 16. Amazing, it's the same. So go ahead, try the others by yourself and see if you can figure them out. And that'll be it for this video. You only have to do pages 15. It's or not. You only have to do the 2 pages provided on this. Of course, I wouldn't have included any others. Never mind. Just forget that. Anyway, good luck on this assignment, and uh, see you next time in class or on the video.